Welcome back, everybody. It's good to have you again. If you're new here, my name is Mal. I'm a day trader, I'm an investor, and this channel primarily focuses on helping beginners that are interested in trading stocks get started. Today, I want to talk about GM, do a follow-up from my last video on my prediction of what GM could possibly do with the announcement of the all-electric Hummer. 2 days ago, during the Super Bowl, General Motors announced an all-electric Hummer that will have around 1,000 horsepower and do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Not much more information has been revealed, but if you have not seen my video and what I think the market was going to do, check that video out. I will link it in the top right-hand corner as I go over my thoughts on what the market reaction could possibly be to the news and how to trade it, whether it's long or short. And I also want to take a look at Tesla. If you're unaware, Tesla has been on an absolute tear. We are looking at the weekly chart of Tesla. Each candle is 1 week, and this thing just went absolutely parabolic. If I put the chart next to the price on the right hand side, you could see how high this thing is. It's vertical. It's absolutely out of control and parabolic. So I want to talk a little bit about this. And so let's go to the daily chart. We are back on the daily chart. And I want to zoom in a little bit. Now, I know with a move like this, there's been multiple upgrades of Tesla from $500 to $800. And the latest upgrade that I was made aware of is Tesla has been upgraded to a price of $7,000 per share. Whether it gets there or not, I don't know. And it's really not my job to know. My job as a technical trader is to trade the chart. I trade specific patterns that make me money. So with a move like this, lots of novice traders are looking to buy Tesla hoping it goes to $7,000 a share. Now, this is a very climactic and a parabolic move. I would not buy this at all. So if you're interested in potentially trading Tesla, I would stay away from it at this point. It is extremely overextended. There needs to be some profit taking. I know that there are going to be short sellers, and the stock just needs to have some kind of a pullback and a rest before it does anything else. All right, so let's go back to GM. We'll talk a little bit about that since my last video was about GM. We'll talk about some predictions and what actually happened and how to trade it. Okay, we are back on General Motors. In my last video, I talked about the market reaction on the electric Hummer news, whether I thought it was going to be positive or negative, and how to trade it, whether we gap up or gap down. The prediction that I had was that I would have liked to see the market gap to about this white line here. And of course, this arrow represents up, right? I was expecting a bullish run if we had a positive reaction and we had a bullish gap. I was expecting some sort of a run up. And you can see we did not gap as much as I thought we would have. But you can see this bullish run. We went from roughly 33.55 right up to 34.35 here, and then we double topped up here and we had a sell-off. That was yesterday, and then today we gapped up again, retested this level of resistance, and we kind of ran higher to about 34.80 and then sold off at the end of the day. So my prediction was that we would have a positive reaction to the market, although I was hoping for a stronger gap and a stock to run a little bit more. But this would have been a good day to trade it. And this is how gaps are formed. Some sort of news comes out and the market has a positive or a negative reaction to the news. And then we get either a gap up or a gap down. If you're not sure what gaps are and how they form, I will link one of my videos up in the top right-hand corner. Go ahead and watch that. And hopefully that explains it. And if you're interested on trading breakouts, I have a step-by-step tutorial on how to trade breakouts. how I trade breakouts, and how to get ready for a potential breakout. Now, with that said, I'm going to tell you not every breakout works, but through controlling my risk, having an exact entry, stop, and a target, I can stay profitable. So as you can see, GM had a positive reaction to the Hummer news, and it looks like we are starting to slowly grind our way up. And I would not be surprised if we opened up with a slight gap tomorrow and then kind of broke out of here and then came back to kind of retest it and then did something like this. Right? So we talked about GM. Let's go to Tesla. Tesla. Well, before we get into today, let me delete this. I want to look at the weekly chart for market structure. Now, most of you will not trade weekly. That is just way too long of a time frame to trade for me. But I want to look at some market structure as it can give you clues as to what the market is likely to do. And the first thing I notice on the weekly chart is this area right here. This is a very strong area of resistance. And if you're asking how I know that this is an area of resistance, I'll show you right now. I am looking for a place where price got rejected, right? We had a bounce here. We had a reaction. We had a second reaction here and a rejection of higher prices here. We had another rejection of higher prices here. We had another rejection of higher prices here. So this forms an area. It's not an exact line, even though I know this candle's not touching and this candle's not touching. But this is an area where price got rejected for the time being. So I know that this is an area of resistance. And typically, once it is broken, resistance turns support. So if I zoom in here, I can tell that we broke out through the area of resistance, came up here, and then you see this wick right here. Let me zoom in a little more. There's a wick right here. This wick is the retest of that support. And even though it didn't reach the line, this is showing that we came down, we retested, and buyers stepped in even before we retested that area and took the stock higher. So we kind of, it's a stair-step pattern, and we kind of took off. So now that we've looked at the weekly support and resistance, let's go down to the daily and see what we're looking at there. So the daily chart, we were stair-stepping. If I move this chart, but make it a little bit clearer to see, we were kind of stair-stepping. We had this gap here, which I've talked about in one of my previous videos. We came up here, pulled back a little, broke the high, pulled back a little, broke this high, retested. There's our weekly support right there, retested, came up. So we're kind of stair-stepping our way up, which is normal for a stock to see. Now, normally it's not this fast, this aggressive, but stair steps are normal. And then we get into this massive gap here from 592, and we opened 631, and then another gap followed by a parabolic move, and then another massive gap. So at this point, I would not be thinking about buying Tesla at all. As a matter of fact, I'd be thinking of shorting Tesla. And if you're thinking of trading this, if you're newer and you're thinking of buying Tesla and hoping that the market goes to the moon, as some analysis have predicted a $7,000 price line, I would think again. The price may continue as Tesla is making an extreme parabolic move, but I would think it would do something like this before it goes any higher. We need to have a sell-off and a rest period in the market where the stock potentially goes sideways for a little while before we take off again. Now, this may not happen. The market usually does what the market is going to do. It's very unpredictable. But as a trader, the way I make money is I trade certain patterns. And with this parabolic move, I would just not be trading it. Okay, so I want to look at today. Today, we actually opened and had a 5-minute sell-off. This is a 5-minute chart. So every candle that closes is for that 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, a new candle is formed. So we had a sell-off in the beginning. Then we broke the high and ran up to 940. And then we had another pullback. This is like an 80% pullback. And then we kind of chopped around, broke the high of this candle here. So if you're looking at this high here and we draw a line from that high all the way to the right, we have a break right here. We have a nice breakout, but it didn't go far. Right? As you can tell, we kind of went up a little bit. We actually double top right here. And then we have a massive sell-off in the last 10 minutes of the day, it looks like. So we pretty much closed where we opened, forming a giant doji. And if I was to make a prediction, now this doesn't mean I'm going to be right, but as a technical trader, what I see, if I was to make a prediction, I would say that tomorrow we would have a sell-off and at the very least fill this gap right here. And if we have a lot of short sellers in the market, which I know there will be, we might do this and then go even lower. So be very careful trading this. At this point, the Tesla stock is parabolic and lots of beginner traders are looking to come in and looking to buy because of the analyst upgrades. But as someone who's been trading for 8 years, I can tell you that I will not be buying this stock at all. Okay, so just be careful trading it. I wish you the best, and I'll see you in my next video. If any of this information was helpful to you, subscribing and hitting the like button will let the YouTube algorithm know that there's quality content in this video. If you'd like to see this video get recommended to more people, leaving a comment will help the algorithm do that. Leave me a comment below. I plan on picking some similar themed comments and questions to talk about in my upcoming videos. That's all for now. I'll see you in my next video.